Hello and welcome to the first ever college football show here on Backyard Catch. My name's Nick Roby.
Barrett Black.
Barrett Black. Thanks for joining in, guys. So we've got a fun show in store. So we want to come every week and just talk a little college football, a little pigskin. So Barrett and I are here ready to talk about it. So we're both repping our teams. Felt appropriate to do that. So, what are you going to do? I'm a big Clemson fan, and Barrett.
Big Alabama fan.
So,
love it.
I know, I'm glad that we can be friends even through this, despite this huge rivalry that we have.
Exactly. It's weird sitting by the purple.
The media would say that, the fact that we can even be together like this, it's a victory in and of itself.
4 years building up, and it gets worse every year, I'd say.
Yeah. So if you can take anything out of this video, just know that Bama and Clemson can survive in the same world.
As of right now.
We'll see. A lot of show to go. So we're coming at you. We got some fun things in store. Just want to talk about. But first off, Barrett, what are some thoughts you have from week 0, the week that didn't happen?
Yeah. So obviously it was extremely exciting. Everybody's ready to get college football back, and the weather here in South Carolina even turned a little bit fall-like. It was cooler out. Sam Adams Oktoberfest is out. It's becoming college football time. I think everybody was amped and ready to see college football, with the expectation that the game might be pretty sloppy because, they have one week less to prepare than everybody else does, and everyone knows that week 1 games are pretty sloppy anyways, and it lived up to the billing in that sense. It was quite a sloppy game. Yeah,
Miami, Florida. Because you got the rivalry aspect of it, you've got a first-year head coach aspect of it, you've got a neutral field, which can add to it. And you've got where defense is a strong point. I think, Miami had 3 freshman offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah.
Florida had a couple. They had a freshman QB in Miami. There's a lot of different factors. I overheard there were 23 combined penalties.
Oh, wow.
So that's also fun, too.
Yeah.
But I think, obviously Florida is the one who came home on top. And so I think it was good. That's kind of how it kind of seemed like it was going to play out and just come to the last possession.
I do think both of those teams are better than what we saw this weekend. I think we'll see that down the road. Both of those teams are going to be better than what you saw there.
Yeah. I think they'll both finish second in their respective divisions.
Okay.
I think they're strong. I think that's the point really with any of that, is that there were some great highs and some really bad lows.
Yeah.
The ball was on the ground a third of the time.
Yes.
And then there were some long touchdowns. So yes. I think it was there. It was fun just seeing football being back.
I agree.
And it was cool to see them really try to be inventive. Florida was 4 for 4 on fourth down, which was pretty fun. The punter,
first drive of the game, fake punt, dude. That
from
was
his own 30 too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that punter, he won the game essentially for Florida. They scored the very next play after he got the first down. And they needed a touchdown to win that game.
Because say they don't make that, they're probably down 10-0.
Yeah.
And that changes the way how you call the game.
For sure.
There you go.
Go punter. That was great.
Go punter. For the brand, as some might say. So it was fun. And then the week 0 thing I think is funny too. Just the fact that it's and I get the whole thing about it, but it just sounds funny to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. So you just get a little taste of football, and now we're into the real slate of games, and that's kind of why we want to start it this week, is just because of all the stuff that's going to happen. We've got big games coming on Thursday. We've got the new ACC network coming out. We've got all these games coming out. But first, before the year gets started, we wanted to kind of put on record one of our different conference picks that we have. So, Barrett, why don't you start first? Who do you have in the ACC in the title game, and then who do you have winning? So
in the title game, I have Clemson, obviously, from their division. I think that they've got, I don't want to say easy path, but it's pretty straightforward. As long as they do their business, there's nobody that's going to really stress them. Syracuse isn't who they were. Florida State's definitely not who they were. In the other side, I've got Miami. That side's always a toss-up, but I think that what we saw from Miami's freshman quarterback this year in this first game, I mean, he's got room to grow, but I think he's going to be able to do some big things there, and I hope that, Miami can take that side.
No, it's a good pick. All right, who do you have winning?
I have Clemson winning the game.
Winning.
No contest, really. I think that's going to be pretty easy.
Yeah, I think the thing for Clemson this year is wanting not to rest on last year's success and all the upperclassmen that left, like the whole defensive front line left. And so these guys, it's about can they step up and really play to their potential. And that's why Dabo really pushes like Clemson being like focusing on itself. I mean, that's what Bama does too. Is you want to focus on yourself versus the opponent, because I mean the schedule's not in the same way as other teams, but you want to be ready for when the big games come. So I obviously have Clemson in the Atlantic coming out. And then I have Virginia coming out of the Coastal. Again, I've heard a radio station where they literally picked names out of a hat for the Coastal Division who would win. And it was pretty interesting. I think they had Virginia Tech was the one.
Okay.
But I think Virginia, Bryce Perkins is really why I picked Virginia, is because they have an upperclassman returning quarterback who can lead the team. And Bronco Mendenhall's a good coach. He used to coach at BYU. And I think Miami is going to be good, but I feel like they're going to be inconsistent.
Yeah,
I think that's the big thing. It's I just don't know if I trust them as much. And then I have Clemson winning.
Gotcha.
So real shocker there. Okay, now let's move on to the Big Ten. This one I think is going to be interesting. It's going to be a very combined league. So for me, coming out of one side, I've got Wisconsin. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, the running back? I mean, he's a stud. He's a stud, and I think really they're the class of the division. Northwestern's gonna be a fun team to watch this year. We've got Hunter Johnson, used to be the old quarterback at Clemson. Yeah. They're gonna be fun, but I think Wisconsin's gonna just rush their way into the title game. And then I've got Ohio State, and now I also grew up a Michigan fan. But here's the thing: is that basically until Michigan beats Ohio State, until I see it, you gotta keep. I'm gonna keep picking Ohio State because it just keeps happening, and it'll be interesting to see with Justin Fields this year. But then I have Ohio State winning.
Cool. So for me, right along the same lines with Wisconsin, I think that Jonathan Taylor is a stud, and he's going to do what Wisconsin typically tends to do, and just run over people. And on the other side, I've got Michigan this year. I think that Jim Harbaugh is needing that win. He's needing that win over Ohio State.
It needs to happen.
Yeah, and it needs to happen this year. So I think while Ohio State is, shuffling from all that they lost last year, that even though they've still got stud players, I mean, they're stacked always. They just got Justin Fields at quarterback. Who knows how that's going to turn out. But I think Michigan needs to pull it out this year. So I've got them versus Wisconsin. I got them winning it.
Yeah, them winning. Yeah. I think if this is a year, this is what they're going to do. Okay, what's next? You want to go Big 12?
Yeah, let's do Big 12. Big 12 is intriguing. I have the same matchup as last year, Texas and Oklahoma.
Okay.
Two, exciting teams to every time they play each other, it's electric. Last year's championship game was a fun one, and I think I love the storyline like we've talked about before with Jalen Hurts in Oklahoma. Who knows if he'll continue to be the starter there? But I can't wait to see what is done with him out there. However, what Texas showed me in that bowl game last year against Georgia, I think Texas has got some studs, and especially Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. And I think Texas can pull it off this year, fully cement themselves as being returned. From the dead there for a while. So I think Texas can pull it out.
Yeah. So, and just full disclosure, we did not look at each other's notes before we did this.
Yeah.
I also had the same championship game, and I also have Texas winning. I think this is the year where they put it all together. I think this is the year where they take a next step.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still a few steps away from being where they want to be.
Of course.
But, I mean, they're going to take another step. And isn't the Big 12, don't they play it as a home game? Is it as a home game or is it a neutral site?
I couldn't
remember. I know it's the top two finish.
Yeah.
How they finish. Regardless, though, I think Sam Ehlinger is the it factor this year, and I think that it's going to push them across, and they're hungry too. Yeah. I think that's the thing with this. Oklahoma has been good, and Lincoln Riley's been such a good coach, but I think Texas has just got that hunger this year that I think they're just wanting the taste of the next level. I think they take that step up. Next, we'll go Pac-12. the West Coast teams that we don't get to see as much here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to improve this year. Last year they were, definitely 5 out of the 5, like in 5th place, I would say, out of all the Power 5 conferences. But and now with some different turnover, there's going to be, I think, 2 teams that make steps above everybody else.
Yeah.
And however, I don't think they're going to make the playoff. I think that it'll be some fun games to watch. So I've got Oregon and Utah as my picks. I think Justin Herbert is going to ball out this year. I mean, it's the flow. Something about the Oregon jersey, the flow he's got. It's so smooth.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun to watch. And then Utah, their defense. I mean, they're just tough at home. And honestly, the South is just they're the best team.
Exactly.
And that's the thing with these things. It's who's the best team in, and they're so tough at home that I think they're gonna make their way in. I think Oregon will win the game.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be close. And I think it's a fun, different, 2 different styles, which would make it a fun game.
Agreed. So I have the same teams go into the Pac-12. There's just a lot of buzz around Utah and Oregon right now, especially we're about to see what Oregon can do first game of the week here. First game of the season here against Auburn. That's going to be a tough test. So we'll see how they do against good defense, right? Because Auburn's going to be a great defense that they're going to have to face. And I have Utah actually pulling it out, mixing it up a little bit. Yeah. Utah taking the Pac-12, mixing things up a little bit. I think, unfortunately, we don't get to see a ton of Pac-12 over here on the East Coast, but, you get to hear what everyone's talking about and stuff. And just seems like your typical SC and Stanford, I mean, they're still in downturns. And I just think that it's time for somebody fresh and new, and Utah being a recent addition to the Pac-12 in the past years, maybe they want to kind of assert themselves a little bit this year. We'll see.
They've definitely been on the cusp. That's gonna be fun. Okay, so those are our conference picks. So I've got Clemson. Oh, sorry, we've got one more.
We got one more.
The big. I'm sorry, I just forget about the SEC sometimes. Okay. SEC, who you got?
No surprise, Alabama and Georgia for the 3rd year in a row. I think they're the 2 best teams on their respective sides. I think that Alabama has a little bit tougher test to get there. We've got some harder teams in the West to go through in Texas A&M and LSU, especially playing at Texas A&M. But Georgia, they've got a little bit of a test in Florida, and South Carolina could cause a little ruckus in there. They also play Auburn every year. I mean, that game is always tough. You never know what's going to happen there. But I do think that they're the 2 best teams in their respective sides. And I picked Alabama to take it again. I know that Georgia is kind of like, hey, this is our year to do it. They've got a junior quarterback who's still a stud, and Jake Fromm. He's a junior. Goodness gracious, he's been there like 30 years already, man.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Golly. Yeah. But he's a stud, and I know people are thinking, hey, Georgia's got it this year, but I can't pick against Alabama.
Yeah, that's fair. So shocker, I've got Bama and Georgia, and I think it comes down to the game and the intangibles, and it's just hard to pick against a Nick Saban team right now and that kind of stage. And the thing to watch out for Georgia this year is I want to see how the wide receiver play is. Yeah, because if they have the tools around them, Georgia can play with anybody, but you do start to wonder if it starts to become a head game, and whether it feels like they're already down 10 points in the game. Yeah. So I have Bama, and again, this is the same thing for me as Bama as it is with Ohio State. Until somebody else dethrones them, you gotta go with them because they're the best team, for sure. And so, quickly we can go through now. Just quickly in the playoff, I have Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Texas, and then I've got Bama, Clemson as my title game for the 5th year in a row. Okay. And then I'm taking my Tigers to go back to back. Gotcha. I think they're going to do it. Shock the world again.
I got Clemson and Texas playing on one side, Michigan and Alabama playing on the other.
That'd be fun.
This would be a really fun playoff in my opinion. Then I would have Clemson and Alabama both winning their side and taking on one another again. And it's an odd year, so that means it's Bama's turn. We got 15, 17. It's 19, baby. It's 19. Our turn.
It is 2 years later.
Yep.
So we'll see. All right, there you go. Home guys pick the home team.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so let's go through some college picks for week 1. There's some big highlights in this week, but I think the big thing is it's week 1. So a lot of teams are playing their opener and they're trying to get a rhythm. So there's not as many of the big marquee games, but there are some fun ones.
Yeah.
And I think quickly, we can talk about Clemson, Georgia Tech play on the ACC network. Clemson's a 36.5-point favorite. So I think, I'm picking Clemson, but the thing I want to watch is I want to watch the front 7. How the new guys who play, how do they adapt to this new offense and how they form as a rhythm, as a unit.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing I'm going to be looking for, especially the linebacker play is probably what I'm looking for.
These first 2 games we have on here, Clemson versus Georgia Tech, Alabama versus Duke. There's no question who's going to actually win the games in anybody's mind. But again, it's to see how are Clemson and Alabama actually performing first game of the season. Are they, hitting their stride? Are they going through, everything they've been practicing, and is everything looking good? Are they making minimal mistakes? Are they getting lots of penalties? Hopefully not.
How are these freshmen looking?
Exactly.
Yeah, that
so I like Clemson over Georgia Tech, and I like Alabama over Duke, both in the mid-30s as far as how much they're favored. And I picked both of them to cover. I think that they both will cover.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, moving on. We're going to go out west. Northwestern is playing at number 25 Stanford. I think this is going to be a fun, interesting of these 2 strong intellectual schools. Stanford's a 6.5-point favorite at home. I'm picking the upset. I'm picking Northwestern. And I'm picking it on the arm of Hunter Johnson. So I think he's going to go in there. And Stanford's is really conservative for me. So I'm picking Northwestern.
Dude, for the exact same reasons, I'm picking the same thing. You got to pick some upsets, and Stanford they're ranked 25, but I just don't know that they're.
It's upsettable.
I don't know that they're 25 caliber, and I also think former Clemson backup Hunter Johnson is going to be able to be something there at Northwestern, or at least we hope.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, let's go Oklahoma, Houston. So Oklahoma's playing Houston. They're a 23.5-point favorite. I don't think it's going to be close. But again, this is going to be interesting to see how the quarterback play is. I think it hurts in how much the freshman plays. I think they're going to do a split time. My prediction is the quarterback situation at Oklahoma is going to be not the same, but similar to how it was with Clemson last year with Kelly Bryant and Trevor Lawrence. Just trying to figure out what's our feel, and I think it's going to take a few weeks for them to figure it out.
I have Oklahoma covering. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Houston. They had Ed Oliver as their big headline guy last year. He's not there anymore. I'm not sure how they are on offense. Oklahoma traditionally has a pretty terrible defense, but I know that's something they've been trying to get better at. So let's see how they do in week 1. I think they cover pretty easily.
Okay. We've got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and Louisville Cardinal at Louisville. Notre Dame is a 20.5-point favorite. No, Notre Dame's a 20.5-point favorite. I don't think this becomes close. I think this becomes a blowout. I want to say, it's less of a spread, but Notre Dame, I think it's deceiving what the score was in the bowl game last year. Notre Dame's going to be a good team, and I think Ian Book's going to take a step up.
Yeah, I agree. And Notre Dame always does really well at the beginning of the season. They play really strong. Louisville, the past few years, ever since losing Lamar Jackson, they just haven't really been that Louisville that we knew, playing against Clemson so close the past few years. So I definitely think Notre Dame, no problem.
Notre Dame. Okay. I'm going to speed up a little bit. We've got Utah BYU. So this is going to be a close game. I think I have Utah winning their division, but this is going to be a close game. BYU is always super tough at home. I think Utah wins on a field goal.
Closer than the experts think. Yes, I agree.
We have our pens ready.
I agree. Yep.
Okay. We've got the Carolina Bowl.
Yep.
At the Belk Bowl. So it feels very Carolina. We've got South Carolina and UNC playing in Charlotte. South Carolina's opening in a 9-point favorite. Who do you have winning the game?
I got South Carolina winning the game. USC, the past 2 years, I believe they've won 5 games. I'm sorry, UNC. I got the wrong C in there. UNC has won 5 games over the past 2 years. They're kind of a dumpster fire. And South Carolina is trying to be second best in the East. And I think South Carolina is going to take that game.
I think they will too. I've got South Carolina winning. I think they cover the spread. I think it's one of those games where it's going to be close at halftime, and then Carolina will probably win by like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and they'll stretch it out, and I think Bentley will have a good game. We've got the states. We've got Boise State, Florida State. Florida State's a 5.5-point favorite.
Yeah,
they had a really tough year last year. They just named Justin Blackman their starting QB. How does the redemption tour start out for you?
I think that it doesn't start out well. In fact, I think Boise State is trying to show that they can still be that team that takes down the big dogs. And I think Boise State's going to upset Florida State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not so fast, my friend. I think the Seminoles have got too much pride, and I think it's going to be close. It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
It's not going to look good.
Yeah.
But Florida State's going to win the game.
All right.
Because, come on, Seminoles, we need you to win this game.
Yeah, you do.
But I really do think that they've got too much talent for them not to muscle their way. They all have talent, and I think they will do it. Okay, we've got an ACC matchup. Virginia Tech is going on the road to Boston College. That's a hard first game on the road in
it really
conference.
is. Yeah. Yep. In conference game. I mean, I hear it's always tough to play at Boston College. Maybe later in the year when it's a bit colder. It's probably pretty nice up there right now. But I like Virginia Tech. I think Justin Fuente runs a good program up there. I think that they're a solid team, and I think they'll take Boston College.
Yeah, I have the Hokies winning as well, and I think it's, for me, Boston College is Dillon. If you can stop Dillon, then you're gonna win.
Yeah.
And with Bud Foster, it's his last year.
Yeah,
he
did announce that recently.
And those guys are gonna play their butts off for him. And I know they've had some turmoil, and they've had some guys leaving, but I think the guys who are there now really want to be there.
I agree.
And it's going to be close. It's going to be one of those like 17-14.
Yeah.
Something like really
It's
close.
a good ACC game.
It's a good opening ACC game. But I've got the Hokies winning on the road. Okay. Our big matchup of the weekend, ABC. We've got number 11 Oregon playing number 16 Auburn at Jerry's World.
Yep.
Auburn is a 3.5-point favorite. Who do you have winning?
We got a rematch of the 2010 national championship game.
Yeah, that's right.
At that time, of course, Auburn was flying behind the shoulder pads of Cam Newton, and they don't have Cam this time. They also have a brand new freshman quarterback, Bo Nix.
And, which is a great quarterback name.
Yeah, it is. But Auburn always has a stud defense. They have a stud defense always. And I think defense wins this game. I think it's low scoring. I think in the past when Auburn has played these Pac-12 teams, did they play last year they played Washington, right?
They played Washington,
yeah. And they just don't tend to create a lot of offense against Auburn. Auburn plays them really well, and I think it's going to be a low scoring game, but Auburn takes it.
Okay, you got Auburn. I also think it's gonna be a back and forth game. I really think it's gonna be close. But I'm gonna take Oregon.
Yeah.
I think Oregon pulls it off. I think this is the year where the cards start coming together for them, where they make a next step up. And again, I think Justin Herbert is gonna make some plays.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a couple big plays that are gonna stand out in the game, and I really think that they're gonna come through. And Oregon's defense is gonna show up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think so. It's gonna be very close, very hard fought game. But I've got the Ducks pulling it out.
Yeah,
so
that's a good pick.
Yeah, there you go. So, well, thanks guys for tuning in. Remember to like, share this video, share with friends, subscribe. We got some fun stuff coming out in the future. So thanks for tuning in with us, and enjoy some college football.
Yep.
Coming out.
Yep. See you guys next time.